Theodore. He's a tugboat and a friendly tugboat too. A friendly tugboat too. Oh, Theodore likes to do the things that friendly tugboats do.
Hello. I'm going down to visit the tugboats this morning. Did you hear that? The funny gurgle, gurgle, ping, ping sound? I wonder where it's coming from. Not here. Not here either. Yeah. It's coming from my fish tank. Well, the tugboats are waiting. You know, I have a funny feeling about that noise. It just doesn't sound right. I wonder what I should do. Maybe I should do what Hank did the time that he had a funny feeling. Yes. Let me tell you what Hank did. Hank could hardly wait. He and Theodore were going to visit the newest cargo ship to arrive in the big harbor, the SS Malarkey. They had just brought Malarkey into the harbor that morning, but already Hank knew he was going to like him. Malarkey has been around the world 492 times, Hank exclaimed. Wow, said Theodore. That's hard to believe. I know, Hank agreed, but that's what Malarkey said, so it must be true. Just then, the big container ship came into view. Hank tooted a happy hello. Ahoy, mateys! Malarkey called out. I'll be with you in a second. I'm just having a little problem with my cargo. Well, what are you carrying? Hank asked. Malarkey looked around to make sure they were alone. Magic flying powder, he whispered. Hank and Theodore gasped. It can make a submarine fly like an airplane, Malarkey said in a low voice. I'd love to show it to you, but... Oh, please, Hank begged. Well... Malarkey thought about it for a moment. All right, but you'll have to shut your eyes while I get it out of its secret hiding place. The two tugs closed their eyes and waited. Okay, ready or not, said Malarkey. Hank opened his eyes and stared at the magical cargo. He had never seen anything so amazing in all his life. Theodore opened his eyes and laughed. Malarkey must be playing a joke on them. That's not magic flying powder, he said, smiling. That's sand. Well, Hank didn't know what to believe. He looked back and forth between his old friend Theodore and this new ship, Malarkey. Then Malarkey smiled. Ah, you're right, Theodore, he said. It does look like sand, only we know it's really magic flying powder. Just us, said Hank proudly. He felt special to be let in on Malarkey's secret. The next day, it seemed that Malarkey was all Hank could talk about. Did you hear about the time Malarkey was surrounded by giant jellyfish? Hank asked. They were headed to the Oceanic Institute with some supplies. He said they were bigger than ferry boats and growl like lions. What a story, said Theodore. Malarkey can really make up some good ones. Hank looked at Theodore in surprise. Malarkey doesn't make up stories, he said as they pulled into the dock. He's just telling us about his adventures. Theodore smiled again. He knew Malarkey's stories couldn't possibly be true. But Hank didn't. So, you want to see the mighty sea monster I captured off the coast of Gorgonzola? Malarkey asked the two tugs the next day. Well, I don't know. I don't want to frighten you. You won't, said Hank eagerly. He was so excited he could hardly stay still. All right then, Malarkey finally gave in. You make sure no one else is coming, and I'll get him out of his cage. Hank and Theodore turned and scanned for other boats. Can you believe Malarkey's going to show us a real sea monster? Hank asked. No, I can't, said Theodore honestly. Once they were sure no one was coming, Hank gave the all-clear signal, and Malarkey called them back. Hank could hardly wait. He turned around in a flash to see the amazing creature. But what he saw didn't look amazing at all. Well, that's just a big pile of seaweed, he said in a disappointed voice. Malarkey looked as if he didn't know what to say. Well, he fumbled. He does look like seaweed, but well, that's because he's asleep. Oh, I wouldn't want you to see him when he's awake. He's much too dangerous when he's awake. Hank wasn't sure he believed Malarkey, but he didn't want to hurt his feelings by saying so. Sea monsters probably just look different in Gorgonzola, he told himself. The next day, Hank had to take some supplies to Lily Lighthouse. He was working by himself when Malarkey came by. Ahoy, Hank! Hi, Malarkey. What are you doing here? Hank smiled. Well, Malarkey began, I've been watching you work, and I think you're going to make a fine ocean-going tugboat. Hank smiled his biggest smile. And I was thinking, Malarkey continued, I could help you with your towing. Tomorrow, after work, let's meet here behind Willie's Island. Then head out to Sandy Beach to practice. Oh, that sounds great, said Hank, excited about going on a real adventure with Malarkey. I can hardly wait to tell Theodore. But then Malarkey frowned. Oh, no, he said in a loud whisper. You can't tell anyone. If one tug gets to go, everyone will want to go. No, this is just for you and me. Hank's smile disappeared. He didn't like leaving his best friend behind. Oh, Hank, don't tell the dispatcher either, said Malarkey as he headed back to his dock. I want to surprise him. Promise, you won't tell anyone. Hank said yes, but inside he began to get a funny feeling. The dispatcher was always supposed to know where the tugs were. Suddenly, Hank wasn't sure if he wanted to go after all. The next day, the tugs were towing a ship to the repair dock. Theodore noticed that Hank wasn't his usual happy self. What's wrong? He asked. Oh, nothing, Hank said in a quiet voice, glancing toward Malarkey. Theodore was worried. Let's go see what Malarkey's doing, Theodore said, thinking that might help cheer Hank up. But Hank didn't smile. He didn't seem to enjoy the story that Malarkey told them about his new flag. Yes, it's from Spaghettini, one of my favorite places, Malarkey said. Do you know that in Spaghettini, ships say hello like this? Ooh-la-dee-da. Theodore laughed at the funny word. Oh, we should try saying that to each other, Hank, he said. Ooh-la-la. How does it go again, Malarkey? Malarkey was caught by surprise. Oh, right. It's, ooh-diddy-wah-diddy. Hank looked at Theodore. He knew that wasn't what Malarkey had said before. Suddenly, his funny feeling was stronger than ever. He didn't know if he could believe anything that Malarkey said anymore. As the two tugs were leaving, Malarkey took Hank aside. Don't forget our meeting, he whispered. Hank didn't know what to say. I'm not sure I can go, he blurted out. Go where, Hank? Theodore asked. Oh, Hank, of course you can't go to Spaghettini, Malarkey laughed. You've got work to do in the big harbor. Theodore smiled at Hank for believing Malarkey's silly story, and then he headed off.
Don't forget, Hank,
Malarkey whispered when Theodore turned away.
this is our little secret.
Later that day, Theodore noticed Hank heading out to Willie's Island alone. Hank, he called. Where are you going? Oh, nowhere, Hank answered in a shaky voice. Well, why don't you come exploring with me along the rocky shore then, said Theodore, catching up to his friend. I can't. I have to go somewhere, Hank stumbled. Theodore stopped. Hank, how can you go nowhere and somewhere at the same time? You sound a little bit mixed up. I am. Hank almost smiled. It felt so good to talk to Theodore. I have this funny feeling, but I don't want to break my promise, and I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, and I want to go on an adventure. Go on an adventure with who? Asked Theodore, who was beginning to feel a little mixed up himself. Malarkey told me not to tell, Hank blurted out. Tell what? Theodore asked. That he's taking me to Sandy Beach by myself, Hank answered in a little voice. I kind of want to go, but I have a funny feeling I shouldn't. I don't know what to do, Theodore. Theodore thought for a moment. Well, Hank, he said, if I had a funny feeling, I'd tell the dispatcher about it. You would? Hank asked. I would, said Theodore. Well, maybe I should too, said Hank with a little smile. Good idea, Hank, said Theodore. Then the two friends headed off to visit the dispatcher. Hank told the dispatcher all about Malarkey. Hank, I'm really glad you told me, the dispatcher said. No one should ever make you keep a secret like that. You were very smart not to go. Well, Hank was really glad he told the dispatcher, too. And if you ever have another funny feeling, the dispatcher went on, please tell me right away. I will, said Hank. You know, I think I have another funny feeling right now. What's that? The dispatcher looked worried. I have a funny feeling, said Hank, that Theodore and I will have plenty of adventures on our own. Yes, Hank did the right thing. There's that sound again. I know just what to do. Hello, Pockwalk Pet Store? Yes, this is the harbor master. I've got a funny gurgle, gurgle, ping, ping sound coming from my fish tank. No, not gurgle, ping, gurgle, ping. It's more of a gurgle, gurgle, ping, ping. What's that you say? No, not ping, gurgle, gurgle, ping. No, it's gurgle, gurgle, ping, ping. Hold on. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm glad I made this call. Thanks for visiting us here in the Big Harbor. We'll see you all again next time. What's that? Oh, so you have a funny feeling about it too. Uh-huh.